It's a tiny little indie book by a tiny little indie writer. I think his name's Joe Hickman.
Yes,
Joe
that's what I
Hickman?
thought. Jane Hickman.
He's released a book called House of X. This is a little thing, but yeah. So Jonathan Hickman's House of X. It's a lot. It's a lot. Interesting is a very good word for it. There's definitely a lot. If you've read everything Hickman's done for Marvel, you get a lot out of this. Like in his little I'm a graphic designer is my passion.
I was gonna say there's a lot of graphs in this movie.
I really hope it's Hickman doing those and no one else because they're fantastic.
Yeah,
they're in every Hickman book. Like every Hickman book has the same sort of thing. It's just like give me more.
Yeah, I don't even know where to begin with that because like it's like so much information.
I was saying that the other day. He literally gives you like a movie's worth just as like a little throwaway world building bit. Like it will get paid off eventually, I imagine.
Oh yeah.
He mentions what is it, Soul's Anvil, which I think it was remade in his Fantastic Four run. That's destroyed now, but hey, he still mentioned it, so maybe that's gonna come back. Who knows?
This first issue was like, it's hard to read a Hickman, anything Hickman for the first issue because it's like you don't know, like you have like sometimes you can read a comic, like a number one from a writer, and then you kind of get where they're going with it, at least like a.
Oh yeah, not with Hickman.
No, you have zero clue, and you're like reading this, and you're like, huh? You kind of have to read it like 2 or 3 times to kind of get like anything.
I know. I've read it like 3 times at this point. I'm just like, I need to make sure I know.
There's a pretty good callbacks from like Giant Size X-Men #1.
Oh yeah. There's a ton of stuff.
It's like almost a Quentin Tarantino type movie.
It's probably not a bad way to describe it, actually. He changes so much about the X-Men as well. Yeah. It's like you thought you knew what an Omega level mutant was. Well,
here's a graph to show you.
It's like there's no more Omega level mutants. Like that concept is done. Like there are Omega level powers. Like Jean Grey is an Omega level telepath.
Yeah.
In
the Iceman.
Yeah, I'm gonna find the other page. I know there's people with like 2 different powers on it, and he's like, no, it's this power is like the limitless one, or what we think is limitless. The other ones is kind of like average.
Yeah,
it does the thing.
I mean, like, it's weird to see like people like Elixir on here, and I never really like thought he was like had a mega level power, but
well, and that's another thing as well. Like Magneto was never an Omega level mutant. He was always like an Apex level mutant
until now.
And now Jonathan Hickman's like, you know what? I really like Magneto. He's now a mega level. Which, to be fair, he should have always been. If you can control the magnetic field of a planet, like you're not really limited to anything. You could go anywhere in the galaxy and still do that. Like,
you know what the most intriguing one is Jamie Braddock. Did you see what
but at the same time, it makes sense.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, like Monarch. I kind of like. I looked at that. I'm like, what does that mean? Does it mean he's a king? I mean, so I guess. I mean, looking at his power base, it's kind of like I guess it would be kind of like an Omega power level.
I'm not sure if Braddock was one before, but it kind of feels like since Wanda's not a mutant anymore, it's just like let's put a reality warper on there. We have Jamie Braddock, let's just put him on there.
And like looking at I'm looking at the graph, it just says like the alliances.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. The AUKUS. Is that what it is? Yeah. That I don't know if AUKUS is a thing or if he's made it up.
He probably made it up.
Because it's kind of like it's one of those where it's like there's so many like different things involved in it, and it's like you could very well have a secret organization running the secret organizations, or the secret organizations that are involved in this one secret organization.
I was gonna say, like, there's everybody from AIM, and it's like
there's AIM, the sword, the shield, there's Alpha Flight, there's everyone.
It's like everywhere, man. Like, and
isn't
I love
isn't the Hydra involved in it?
Yeah,
Hydra's involved
in it.
Yeah, and people that are long forgotten, Hammer and Armor. Like, where have they been? Nowhere. Right? They're now suddenly back in House of X. Like, it's pretty cool.
So, like, and also, I mean, I love him, like the visuals, like the pods, like the
oh, see, now that's where, like, that's where is the real talking point. Are these the X-Men now?
Yeah, exactly. I was just thinking, I was like, because they're coming out of like these pods, like they're dressed as like the older versions of it, and like
Cyclops is a new costume. He's never had that costume before. No, is that something intentional to throw people off?
Yeah.
Or what? I think Grey is in the Marvel Girl uniform, and she's going by Marvel Girl.
And so is Wolverine.
Wolverine, he's in the old yellow and brown, yeah. And, you know, have we ever seen Wolverine happy with kids before? I don't think
I was going to say, I don't think he's ever been drawn with smiles before.
Like, I don't know if it actually is the case or not, but a lot of people I've seen talk about this have said something feels a bit sinister about it.
Yeah.
Something sinister. Something sinister is going. Not necessarily like Nathaniel Essex, but something sinister is going on.
So, I'm taking it like the guy in the helmet is Xavier, right?
I think that's what we're meant to think. I don't know if it'd be too easy to say it's not Xavier.
I mean, like, would it be interesting to make Xavier like the bad guy? Because he's like.
I think that's what he's gonna do.
I think it's genius.
I don't know. Hickman has a thing for people in skinny outfits and a big helmet. You know, he didn't necessarily make the Maker, but he made the Maker what he is. Yeah. So you can kind of say he made it. You know, Babylon and East of West has the exact same look. So it's a constant in Hickman's stuff.
Yeah.
And they're always, you know, it's either they're always kind of the same thing. You know, Babylon's supposed to be, you know, Babylon, paradise and all that. You know, the Maker wanted paradise, and he was like, you know, enough. We're going to force everyone to this point. And it's very similar to what quotation marks I'm going to be using for this Xavier's doing. You know, in the span of what it says 2 years. I'm going to try and find the page. It's like a 2-year thing Xavier's been doing. Where is that page?
I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Oh no, it's what 2 years ago observation begins. 1 year ago population alert. The X gene activation has spiked. Yada yada yada. 6 months ago financial alert. I think that's when Xavier starts making the drugs and everything from Krakoa. Which Krakoa, like, what a callback.
Yeah,
like, hey, this like living plant guy is he's now our home.
Do you remember something from like 1975 or 80? Here it is again. It's crazy, man. It's like such an obscure character. It hasn't really been brought up. Like he's been brought up every once in a while, but nothing like significant. But like
I don't think I've seen Krakoa in years.
Like reprints, you know, like these. But it's very. I think it's very interesting, man. Like I think this has like been probably. I think Hickman's probably gonna be the best thing for this series. Like, I think they should have did this long ago. Like,
oh, absolutely. I'm 100% on board if this is the MCU direction as well.
Oh yeah.
No, you know, it's different. I said it on Twitter yesterday. Like, it's different for the X-Men, but at the same time, it's kind of been there, done that. Like, you know, Wakanda, we're gonna have the same thing with Eternals.
Yeah.
Like, it'll be the same thing with Atlantis if we ever do Namor. So it's kind of like but at the same time, it's like just do it. Like, you know, it's different. It stands different from those things as well, kind of.
Yeah.
Like deeper
level. Definitely. Let me say, like, I think Kirkman loves plants. Like, if you think.
Oh yeah. Hickman has plants in everything.
I mean, his Avenger run was like plants.
Avengers literally starts out with Ex Nihilo on Mars, and it's like, we're gonna make a garden. Cool. Like, cool. Yeah, maybe East of West Babylon is a thing with a flower with him. It's like,
I was gonna say maybe he was like a gardener before he became like a
I mean,
writer.
I'm pretty certain it's to do with a reference to a movie.
Oh, you mean? I mean, it could be the like invasion of the pod people, or like I mean,
that's definitely a reference to them.
yeah. I mean,
Like, they're literally pod people, but it's I don't know. There's a lot to go on. Like there's the whole, his Soul's hammer that Stark made in his Avengers run. That's back, but it's got the Omega Sentinel head in it. So, like, is that?
Was that Master Mold?
No, it's the Omega Sentinel.
Yeah. I mean, was was that him? Because I thought I'd seen another description of it. Maybe I wasn't remembering correctly.
I mean, like, I got a director's cut of this issue, and there's 178 pages, so you get the entire script, all the black and the colors, all the covers. You get it's a really good cut for like $3.99. But yeah, they only say like a Mega Sentinel for that bit, so I don't know if it could be Master Mold. I don't know.
That's another. If that's the case, that's another pretty pretty old concept.
It's like, is that? I assume that was all Orchis and that side of things, and not like mutants. Because when I first read it, I took it that Mystique, Toad, and Sabretooth were after Data for that.
Yeah.
It's like the whole when they talk about like Stark and Reed would leave each other's stuff so it didn't fall into someone's hands. But of course, there was that one brief period in time where they were both missing or dead, and so damage control just went, all right, we'll take it. Yes. So it's kind of like, is that what the mutants are after? Because it's obviously it's a Sentinel, so I assume it's that. But
I think we're gonna be talking about this for a long time.
Oh yeah,
like
there's a lot of stuff.
How long is he gonna be on the X-Men?
For years. Absolutely, he's already said there's stuff in. Is it New Mutants he's doing the first arc for? It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's already said in that there's stuff in there that's going to get paid off years down the line.
Man.
I expect an Avengers style run on this one where it's just going to go on and on and on and be the best thing in your life ever.
Yeah. I think bringing him onto these, I think they Marvel's genius for doing this because the X-Men series has been lagging for so long.
Oh yeah,
it's been subpar.
And he's been so vocal about how bad it's been. He's like, oh, it's just a mess. There's no continuity. It's just rehashing the same thing.
Yeah, the continuity thing doesn't bother me as much as it just feels like everything is doing the same thing over and over. Every event is the same thing. Just reading this issue, I'm this kind of brings something new to the table. Bringing back characters like Kuroka and stuff like that. It's well, you're asking me. I'm asking myself throughout the issue while reading it, and that's distracting me because I'm what's going on? What is this going to lead to? I found myself asking that question to my wife, who has zero clue what I'm talking about, and she's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what is X-Men. I'm
exactly. I have no idea what I'm talking about either.
It's we're both in the same
understand.
Yeah. I think it's gonna be the
I'm very comfortable in saying this is going to be the definitive X-Men run.
Oh yeah, and because the Grant Morrison stuff was just fucking confusing. Excuse my language. Just so confusing. When him and Frank Quigley were doing the new X-Men stuff, it was just really confusing. And this
that's
is
Grant Morrison theory, though.
Yeah, but this is confusing in a good way, where you're you go back and you have to reread it and then reread it, and then you get something new out of each time you're reading it.
Definitely.
And do you think it was strategic though, doing this right now?
Oh, what was the whole Fox merger thing?
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know. That's kind of how they have been operating. Hey, this thing, the movie's coming out. Here's a comic for it. But at the same time, it's kind of they're so far out. The X-Men.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that this is just my thought. It's they're just trying to build the X-Men back up to a good status. So when they do have the movies, it's not such a nobody's really thinking about what happened with the Fox stuff. They're just thinking
that's probably I can see that being the case.
I mean, that's just a thought of mine.
I think. Because they have Cebulski as the editor-in-chief now. He's such a massive X-Men fan. It's obvious. He's tried to get the X-Men back to a point, and it's kind of worked before. It never really worked. You know, you got to Uncanny X-Men. It's like this is the same stuff I've been reading.
Yeah.
You know, you're literally doing Age of X-Men, and it's just Age of Apocalypse but backwards.
Yeah.
Like, not great. And it's kind of like they need to do something. It's like, you know what? The one thing you can do is get Hickman.
Yeah, I mean, like he brought the Fantastic Four, I think he elevated the Fantastic Four, the characters, because that was another one that was just lagging for so long, you know.
Yeah.
And then like
they
like,
were so stale in like the mid 2000s. It was
yeah. I think, I mean, at that point, I think in the 2000s, every comic was kind of in that position too. But like, I thought like once Hickman came on and brought that style of writing, because like, you know, like I feel like X-Men and Fantastic Four lends itself to these long form storytellings.
Oh yeah.
And I feel like, you know, Hickman kind of rewrote like the history of the Fantastic Four in a good way, you know, where it was just like, it kind of brought it back to like that Walt Simonson era where it was just like just crazy stuff, but it's like crazy stuff for the Fantastic Four. And like, I don't know, man, like I definitely think that doing him coming on to X-Men definitely is a good sign that, you know, I think the sales are
definitely. And also like it's not even going to stop here, because this week we have Powers of 10. And they've said like that's a 100-year look in the future.
Oh really?
So there's a lot of theories going on about what exactly is happening, because I'm not entirely sure how people got to this thing, but like obviously Xavier's making mutants.
Yeah.
Right. So he's doing something. So is that connected? And they also talk about the population of mutants and how they would have taken over the planet at this point if it wasn't for Genosha and other events like that.
Yeah.
So it's a case of like with the whole breeding like mutants, like they're all like really strong mutants. So are they doing like 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 to get the population back there? And it's like that would explain why the powers of 10 mutants kind of look like we know but don't know.
Yeah.
Sort of things, but I suppose we'll find out something like that on Wednesday. I don't know. It's Hickman.
I don't think I never think the first issues of his like comics ever give you any like helpful or useful information to figure out anything. You know, just like this is some weird stuff. Look at it, read it. You're not gonna understand it all, but
and you're not meant like part of the fun of Hickman is you're not meant to understand it all. There obviously are going to be like payoffs down the line, but
that's what I love about it though. It's like it keeps you on your seat. You know, you're wanting to read this comic every week or every other week. Like it did it for me for his Avenger run, his Fantastic Four run, and like I mean I never
full disclosure for me, his Avengers run it didn't grab me at the start.
Yeah.
Like the whole Ex Nihilo thing with Mars, it was a bit slow. It was slow for Hickman. Hickman goes slow.
Yeah.
So it was a bit like, oh, come on, Hickman.
I know eventually it paid off though. Like,
eventually he came full circle and was just like, wow, I stuck with it. Yes.
See, that's always the key word with Hickman stuff is like it eventually. You know? Like because you know that like somewhere down the line, everything that you read up to that point is all gonna make sense. Like you know, you're like cause some of those writers like they do all this crazy stuff and like, but it never really pays off in the end. You know, and it's just kind of they stick the landing a little too much. You know, but like with Hickman, it's kind of landed pretty much like it's got a good win ratio.
And like aside from the whole like they now have their own little nation and everything. I think that the most intriguing bit to me is that one interaction Scott quote Pod Summers. I'm going to call him. I'm certain they're making Xavier the 616 maker at this point. There's too much pointing to it.
Yeah,
like,
I'm sorry.
I was gonna say like it's where it's not him. It didn't feel like Scott. It felt a bit weird and like a bit. Like Scott's cocky, like obviously, like he's kind of a terrorist, but like he never felt like that. Like there's something like just the way he strutted in there. I was like, hey, tell your mutant kid Fantastic Four that he's got a family with us. Like,
do you think? But do you think that they're trying to like, I don't know, like get away from that character, the characterization of like his like the Avengers, X-Men, everything, and just
I mean,
kind of
definitely, but at the same time, it just feels something. I don't know if it's a combination of just the entire goings on in the book, where it's like hey, they have this. There's something dark
off.
is obviously going on
Yeah.
here, and it's just like I don't know if it's because of that, and I'm just trying to see things, or I don't know. It's just
I really hope, and this is just like my opinion. I really hope they make Charles the main villain, like just straight up, because like I mean, he's like, let's face it, man. Like, he's kind of
he's a colossal dick.
Yeah,
let's just be honest. He is a massive dick.
In like every story kind of makes it feel like he's like the hero, regardless of what he's done. I mean, like all the questionable things he's done in like the past. It's like it's all been like he's been doing it for the greater good. But like
I honestly think that's the direction it's going to go, because just the whole Maker parallels, like he looks like the Maker now. He's doing literally what the Maker was doing in the Ultimate Universe, except for here it's more justified. It's like, no, like we've been fighting for this our entire lives. Enough is enough. We're just gonna take it. Like we don't have to answer to you. This is not it's not an offer. Just accept it or don't. Like, and I think that he's an incentive sort of thing. Like, you don't have to have it, but you want it.
But in that I think to me fits the characteristic of Xavier to a bill, regardless, because like like I mean, like you say, he's a real dick. Like even like most of the storylines that like make him out to be the hero, he's done some really weird, messed up things. And
I mean, just with Jean Grey,
Oh, for sure.
To change your mind around,
like if he existed in the real world, I mean, that would be a Me Too movement, like straight up, straight up horror story. Like he'd be right up there with Harvey Weinstein, and like he's.
Can you imagine a Me Too movement in the world with telepaths? Like, wow.
He would be poster boy for that. Like, I mean, like, it's really creepy what he's done. It's like two steps away from being like a date rapist. Like,
I mean, yeah. It's no different to like Star Fox. His power is basically rape. So,
like that's a character I hope they completely change if they bring him into the.
Or if they don't change it, the movie, call him out on it.
Just like, hey, stop being creepy, you date rapist.
What's with your family? Like your brother?
Why is he looking at me that way?
No, there's a lot to sink your teeth in with this issue. Hence why we spoke about it for longer than the main show itself. So
I'm looking forward to the omnibus, like when it all like kind of like
that's gonna read really well.
It's gonna like without any interruptions or waits, or it's just gonna be like from. I guarantee it's gonna take me like a day to read all that.
Oh yeah. Very nice. So yeah, House of X #1. A lot of stuff is going on. Personally, from what they've done in this issue, it's been a long time coming. It should have happened a long time ago.
For sure.
Hey, we have our own little homeland now. They have their own language. Like Magneto even says you can't have your own culture without your own language. Don't try and decipher it. If you're going to decipher stuff that they've said or they've shown you in the things, swap the G and the A around or the H around, because Hickman got them back to front by mistake. So, heads up. If it says Gabitat, it's supposed to be Habitat.
Habitat, yeah.
Just keep that in mind. Just like, like, Hickman, no.
It's like pygmy language,
Yeah, but they haven't revealed the letters V, Y, and Z yet.
I think
we don't know if they have those letters at all, or if they haven't revealed them yet. So it's an interesting.
Like all the charts that he makes, he needs to make a language chart for that.
I mean, someone's already made a language chart, but no doubt Hickman would be like, "No, this is my one. Like, look at the graphic design. It's my passion."
Yeah. I kind of like. I'm not sure about like the Magneto costume. I never liked the white and black one all that much.
I'm half and half on it. I think when it came out originally, I wasn't a fan, but I think here it kind of suits the tone and of it. So
okay.
It's no like 90s road costume where I'm kind of like, no, it's so dated. It's so dated.
Nobody sells bomber jackets that small now.
And especially when it's like, oh yeah, humans don't wear human clothes. Yet his rogue wearing a human jacket. Like, okay.
Her waist is about the size of a pencil, man.
Yeah.
One thing it did do for me though, it made me reread the Maker stuff and the Fantastic Four, and I do now appreciate it more than I did before. Like
I always loved the Maker stuff. It's a very Hickman concept.
Yeah, I never really got into it, but then like the talk we had last time, and then I just started like this kind of maybe because it like you said, it really did look like Maker, like the Maker. So I started rereading that Fantastic Four run, and I was like, all right, I get it, I like it now. Yeah.
Good. Making me some love. Like, get me in the movies.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Let that be the direction for the MCU read.
I mean, that would be pretty cool though if they just went straight to that.
Oh god, if you went, if it's as long as it's not straight to the point. It's like, hey, yeah, here's Reed. He's a bad guy now.
Yeah. I mean, like not so much like straight like there, but like it takes like maybe the first movie. There's hints of him being not as good as you think he is. And it just kind of accumulates to the third movie or something. I don't know. It would definitely translate pretty well because like that's something different that the movies type need.
I would say there's never been a comic movie where that's happened before.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know the direction of whoever's doing it, but I think that should be a good direction of it.
I mean, I imagine at some point you're going to be able to slip something to someone somewhere. So just like slip that note in someone's pocket.
I will email. I'll do a chain email, and whoever answers me back.
I mean, I'm sure you know Feige's email.
I do. I can.
Yeah. So just
anonymously chain email to everybody.
Look, give me his email, and we'll get
it. I'll forward it to you later.
Sweet. Just put it in Discord and delete it when I got it.
I'll take a picture really quickly, send it to you, and then delete it.
Excellent. So yeah, that was House of X #1. I imagine we'll talk about, no doubt, the same length of time for Powers of 10 this week or next week even. So
I'm salivating for that one. So I'm just like,
I just want to. This is the worst part about him. I just want to know what he's doing. And the worst part is he's come out and said, it's like, hey, you can read Powers of 10 and then House of X and then reread House of X1 in a completely new light. I'm like, great, I'm never going to know what's going to happen. No, everything's literally going to change issue by issue.
That's what I love about him, though, man. Like, it makes you come back from war, Yeah. Like,
it's kind of like, can we clone Hickman and just have Hickman everything?
Yeah. We'll keep a backup just in case something happens to the original.
I mean, look after the original one. Like let him retire, let him do his thing. But like Hickman clone one, like put him on extra duty,
Put him on. We'll like loan him out to like WB or something like that, so they can maybe get something good.
Let's push these clones. Let's see how far we can push the clones.
I think we can make a franchise out of this, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
I mean, give me a Hickman documentary series. I want to see how the dude ticks. Like, I could clone number 6.
We could start a little like McDonald's franchise.
Yeah. Rent Hickman out for like a 6-figure summer day.
Yeah, I mean, look, like I said, DC needs some good stories. So, I mean, like, why not? Like,
true. It's very true. But yeah, that's going to bring us to the end of the show. So thanks for everyone for joining, and we will catch you all next time. So, bye.
See ya.